Ready? Started. Just a minute. Started. Mr. Vice Chairman, I rise to associate myself fully with the resolution and the concern which has been expressed from all the various sections of the House regarding the urgent necessity of developing rural industries. As time passes by, we are reaching a situation in our rural areas where something desperate needs to be done immediately if we want to preserve the social stability of the country and also to see that full use is made of the time and talent of the people in the rural areas which go waste today, as has been pointed out in the resolution. Sir, the Planning Commission and the Government of India have applied their minds to the various isolated aspects of rural industries, and some valuable reports have been published and some important recommendations have been made in these reports which need consideration. But unfortunately, there is no high-level decision regarding the various issues which face the country as far as the problem of rural industrialization is concerned. We are not quite clear as to what, first of all, rural industries mean and what rural industrialization implies. Does rural industrialization mean the utilization of local resources in order to meet the local needs? Or does rural industrialization imply the creating of surplus in the rural areas which could be exchanged with the surplus in other centers of the country and thereby create a richer life for the rural areas? Various opinions have been expressed with regard to this problem, but there is no authoritative determination of the policy regarding the meaning of rural industrialization. It has been suggested that if such import of capital and skill from urban centers were to mean merely the multiplication of industrial centers in the rural areas, such an industrialization of the rural areas would nullify the advantages that are likely to accrue as a result of the rural industrialization. The time has come when some decision has to be taken as to what we really mean by this rural industrialization. There is also difference of opinion regarding the authority that should undertake the responsibility for this rural industrialization. From the literature that has been published in this connection, it is quite obvious that two distinct and powerful schools have developed regarding this issue. On the one hand, there are people who believe that the task of rural industrialization should be entrusted to the village panchayats, since they represent the village people and they have the resources and the powers to raise the necessary resources from the rural areas. The panchayats, it is felt, are the competent authorities to deal with the problem of rural industrialization. Equally strongly, it has been argued by others that cooperatives are the right answer to the question as to which should be the authority that should deal with rural industrialization. I may also mention that there is a third school which believes that the import of private capital and private skill into the work of rural industrial development is the real answer to the problem which we face in the matter of rural industrialization. Here again, some authoritative determination of the policy has become necessary because in the absence of such a policy, ad hoc decisions are taken which sometimes cancel each other, and therefore the rapid progress which we hope and wish for in rural industrialization becomes impossible. Then again, there is the further question of protection that may be necessary for rural industries in view of the lack of the internal economy from which rural industries would suffer. Whatever may be the answer to the first two questions, Professor Malkani has already referred to this question and various suggestions have been put forward. But all these suggestions require some detailed consideration as there are a large number of difficulties in implementing any one of these suggestions. Demarcation of markets and the imposition of taxes in order to see that goods from the urban centers do not reach the rural centers in unfairly competitive conditions are some of the suggestions that have been made. One great advantage of a vast country is the large number of markets that are available for the goods that are produced in the country. However, if these markets are artificially restricted and goods are not allowed to move from one center to another, I am afraid more problems would be raised than solved if this protection is sought to be given in this manner. Yet, protection has to be given to the rural industries if these rural industries are to develop. Therefore, serious and competent thinking is necessary in this connection, and again, time is running fast. Therefore, it is desirable that we should have some authority which could examine the various issues involved and determine the policy with regard to this matter also. Mr. Vice Chairman, I wish the matter had not come up for discussion in this House in the form in which it has come, because we will be discussing it appears the same subject more or less piecemeal in connection with the other two bills as well. What was necessary for the government in this connection was to provide for a general discussion on the report of the Finance Commission, the kind of thing that we have on such reports, and after hearing the views of the members here, they should have formulated a bill. Even if they had formulated the bill earlier, the bill should have been preceded by a discussion on the report. It would then have given us an opportunity of dealing with this rather important subject in our public finance and indeed in our national life. But now we are asked to treat this matter piecemeal and deal with the bill as it comes separately. I say, sir, this would not seem very fair. It is true that we have had two other reports of the Finance Commission and that we have had certain opportunities of discussing the issues raised by the Finance Commission on previous occasions. ये आपको SSC C D ग्रेड टेस्ट नंबर 82 के नाम से मिल जाएगा @100 C ग्रेड टेस्ट U2। नेक्स्ट में आपको बोलूँगा 80 पे और इसकी स्पीड 100 की है। फ्लैक्चुएशन में जो जनरली एग्जाम में होती है वो 5 से 7 वर्ड तक की है। अब आप 80 पे लिखेंगे। रेडी? Started. Another interesting development in recent years has been the institution of summer schools or seminars where teachers and young workers in different fields of studies, whether it be science or humanities, can get together and live together only for a certain period, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, and attempt a survey of the advances made in their field of study. The summer schools have proved to be one of the most fruitful developments which we have had in recent times, and I have heard myself from the most distinguished scientists and others that their participation in those summer schools has brought to their notice many developments of which they were unaware. Here, I am happy to say that the two ministries with which I am associated have both been cooperating and both have taken an initiative in the matter. Since 2003, the summer schools have been largely increasing, and the University Grants Commission during the current year is subsidizing and helping a very large number of summer schools. Then there has been the very important question about the 3-year degree course. This is a matter on which discussions have been going on in this country for over 40 years, and the consensus of opinion, without almost a single exception, has been that the 3-year degree course is the only type of degree course which we should introduce at the undergraduate level. There have been differences as to whether this degree course should be introduced after 11 years of schooling, or after 12 years of education, or after 10 years of education. There may be some difference on that point, but that the degree course as such, the structure of the school should be 3 years is almost universally admitted. I will not go into the arguments that were given by the University Education Commission. Not only the University Education Commission, over which Dr. Radhakrishnan, our former president, presided, and of which you were, sir, a very distinguished member, but the University Grants Commission, starting with the Kothari Commission in 1947-48, said that all over the world there is the tendency that the university's first degree should not be less than 3 years. In many countries, for example, in the United Kingdom, today there is the move for making the honors course a 4-year degree course. I know that on the continent and in certain of the Arab countries like the UAR, they are planning in terms of a 5-year degree course. But in any case, 3 years seems to be the minimum. Here, if I may say so, to my mind, at times we have not, in approaching the problem, considered properly one of the most relevant considerations, that is the question of age. We debate about a 10-year secondary education or a 12-year secondary education, but unless we assure that only young men and women come to the universities and not children or people who are in their early adolescence, nothing can be done about standards. It is not an accident that throughout the world the age of entry in the universities is normally 18, and in many countries they have trying to raise it to 19. So far as the continent of Europe is concerned, in many cases it is 20 or over. In Germany it is very often 21. But I do not know of any country in the world excepting India and the restwhile part of undivided India, Pakistan, where the age of entry is 12, 15 or 16 years. It is true that the University Grants Commission have made a welcome move in that direction. In the field of technical education, about 2 or 3 years ago, we took a decision that 16 plus will be the minimum age of entry for institutions of university standing. In the universities also, the University Grants Commission have now decided that 16 plus should be the minimum age for entry into universities, and they have made this recommendation of all universities of India. Till that point is decided, all discussions about the 10-year, 11-year or 12-year course in schools are, to my mind, unreal and artificial. I remember on one occasion when this question was being discussed, a representative of a state government said that no change in his state was necessary because it already had a 12-year secondary school course. And when I asked him as to what was the average age at which pupils took the final school certificate examination, I was told that it verified between 14 and 16. My comment on that was that if we had a 12-year course and the course ended at the age of 14 or 15, it means that the course must have started at the age of 2 or 3. I said that why we should not go a step further and say that we should have a 16-year course. ये आपको टेस्ट नंबर 82 के स्पीड से मिल जाएगा। फ्लक्चुएशंस में 5 वर्ड होगी है। टाइप करेंगे